reference are the preliminary reports. The full report will eventually come to this Board of Police Commissioners for us to adjudicate to determine whether there was any wrongdoing in the matter. That full investigation generally takes 10 months to 11 months. It comes to us, and then we review all of the evidence, including all of the videotape.
Is that for suicide investigation?
That is for any categorical use of force, which includes a death in police custody. Once that case comes to us, after we render our decision, that very same day the chief of police issues his report is online, and within a week the inspector general issues his independent report, which is also available online.
Okay, and why is it that other police departments?
Did I get any of those details incorrect, Mr. Chief?
You're correct with all those details.
Thank you.
And why is it that other police departments can release the footage of their body cams and other footage?
Every department has their own policies. This is the policy of LAPD.
And for a killing, it takes you 10 months to review a footage to see if there is wrongdoing?
To do a proper investigation, yes, it does.
And you don't see the lack of transparency in that?
Well, we think that her family should know something before 10 months on what happened.
The chief has offered, I don't know if
The chief offered to meet with her without a lawyer. Without a lawyer, right?
No, he offered.
That's right. Last week?
You were here last week. You heard my offer that I would meet with her attorney, and we would provide more information, some detail, not complete detail, because the investigation is not completed, as Inspector General stated, but we would give some detail. I don't know if that meeting has been arranged or not, but it's still an open invitation.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
And we would like information like that before 80 days.
Or 10 months?
The next speaker, Princess Jenkins.
Around the door.
I've actually already spoken on this. If you let me speak again, you know how I love to hear my own voice. I'll speak again. Can I speak again? It's already spoken on this.
You already spoke.
You've already spoken on this matter, didn't you? Sorry.
We have no other comment cards, is there?
We will do the report of the chief of police.
Number 3 on the agenda, the report of the chief of police, Chief Beck.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
To compound the worldwide tragedy, the Department mourns the loss of 2 law enforcement officers from France who were assassinated yesterday in an act of terrorism. I've authorized the wearing of mourning bands to note their loss. We also authorized the wearing of mourning bands to note the loss of the 49 lives in Orlando. Very tragic weekend on a worldwide level. As both Commissioners Johnson and Salzman commented, we participated along with hundreds of other law enforcement officers in the LA Pride parade this past Sunday. We took some extraordinary measures because of the attacks in Orlando, fearing that there may be a copycat or connected attack. I put all of the officers that were attending on their own time onto an on-duty status, and we shifted from a support mode, which we have done in every LA Pride parade that I've attended, to a protection status. And we had a very safe, well-organized, well-run parade, and I commend the sheriffs and the city of West Hollywood for their bravery in continuing to have the parade, and also their diligence in its presentation. Today at 3 o'clock, the department is going to host a press conference with members of the LGBT community as well as the Muslim community to talk about community unity, to talk about the fact that these are communities that are not divided, that these are communities that have similar goals and designs, and that the acts of one bad man should not reflect on either of those communities. So I'm inviting the commissioners to attend. I know Commissioner Johnson will be there, and I'm hoping that the other commissioners have time to attend also. I think it's an important statement to make, and important for folks to recognize that there is no religious connection to murder, and that people that act out and try to hide behind religion for their cowardly actions should be called out for that. On 6/10, in 77th Division, at about 8:30 at night, gang enforcement officers who were patrolling that neighborhood because it was what's known as Gang Hood Day, the date of the year that a particular street gang claims as their own in that neighborhood, made a stop of a car with multiple individuals into it. In it, one of the individuals, a documented gang member for many years, got out armed with a handgun. Officer involved shooting ensued, and he was fatally shot. This is obviously a tragic incident for all involved, but there's nothing on the face of it that would cause me to think that the officers were doing anything but their job.
Was he handcuffed?
On to my normal report on crime. I think that given the incidents nationally and the renewed conversation about gun violence, I'll highlight gun violence in the city of Los Angeles. So far, year to date, we've had 116 homicides in the city of Los Angeles. About 70% of those are caused by gunfire. We've had 475 people shot in the city of Los Angeles. Even though those are both in line with the number of occurrences last year, it was still far too many for any civilized nation. The city of Los Angeles experiences a level of homicide slightly above the national average, but more than 10 times the average of nations that have more sophisticated measures of gun control, such as Japan, France, and Great Britain. This level of homicide is likely to continue until this nation wakes up and embraces proper gun control. We stand at a 15% increase in violent crime this year to date, a 2.9% increase in property crime, aggravated crime level, 5.4% increase. We've had a reduction in categorical use of force this year as compared to last, about a 12.3% reduction. Officer-involved shootings are down 10.5% compared to our 5-year average, and down significantly since last year, almost 40%. Gang crime is up in the city of Los Angeles about 7%, highlighted by aggravated assaults committed by gang members, which are up about 11%. Traffic collisions are up by about 8.2%. To give you an idea of what that means, in the city of Los Angeles, we've had 23,254 reportable traffic collisions this year. In those traffic collisions, 98 people have been killed. Driving under influence, we've had a reduction in driving under influence related accidents, about 6.4%. Hit and runs, we're having an increase of about 5.1%. Motor vehicle versus pedestrian, a slight decrease of a little over 1%. And bicycle involved traffic collisions, a significant decrease of about 15%. Sworn personnel on payroll, we have 9,901 personnel on payroll. We are expecting that number to drop significantly by the end of the month due to retirements. I'll report on that as we move forward into the next fiscal year. Civilian personnel, we have 2,720 civilian personnel on staff. That suffers from 557 vacancies. We have additional civilians in the next fiscal year's budget, but we are still going to suffer with civilian staffing. About 400 reserve officers, 283 specialist volunteers, 60 chaplains, and we have 7,861 young people that are looking at us.
I don't like looking at it.
How many people on average per month do we lose to retirement?
We lose, depending on the year, about 350 sworn personnel per year. So, per month, maybe in the neighborhood of 30, high 20s, 30s. This year, because of a slight change in the retirement provisions, we're going to see an increase to about 400. So we have to hire at least 400 to stay even this year. And I think so far in the fiscal year, total recruits in the academy just eclipsed 500. Unfortunately, we suffer about a 15 to 20% attrition rate in our classes. So total, we have barely met the 400 mark. So we're staying about even. But we're still over 100 down from our
Right.
base rate.
Right. Do you have any comments?
We have
on the
12
Socials report?
comment cards. 12. The first 3, Prentice Jenkins, JoJo Smith, and the Red Chip Hunt.
Prentice Jenkins, published the City Life newsletter, activist since 1991. I'd like to say, I have come to praise season. That would be me today, pat myself on the back. Significant incidents. We had the shooting in Orlando, and on Saturday, I'm talking to a friend, letting him know, he's talking about it was terrorism. I said, I don't think that's terrorism. I think that's something else. It's the magician's trick. Watch the right hand while the magician does the trick with the left. Always watch the left, because that's where the trick is. I kept telling this friend, that's not terror. It is terrorism, but he ain't no terrorist. I said, that dude is gay. And guess what? He's trying to kill the gay out of him. I said, he's been to that club, kissing up on the men before. And he dismissed it. Guess what? On Monday, they found out that man was at that club, kissing up on men. So that wasn't about terrorism. It was about terrorism, but it wasn't about him hating gays. It was about him hating himself. Because when he saw those 2 men kissing, he didn't get angry. He got sexually aroused. That's what happened to him. And killing all the gay men what he was trying to say was, or do was, if he killed all the gay men, eventually he wouldn't have sex with men. Because he knew eventually, if he hadn't had sex with men, I believe he had. If he hadn't, eventually he was. So don't believe the hype about this dude hating gays. He didn't hate gays. He was gay himself. And sure enough, patted myself on the back again, because, hey, I called it again. If Mr. Jenkins know people or what? Yep, that was not about hating gays. That was about him being gay and hating the fact that he was gay. So stop thinking that's about hating gays. It wasn't.
JoJo Smith.
JoJo Smith, Los Angeles Community Action Network. Chief Beck, why did you sit up here and lie so goddamn much? The man was in handcuffs when he was killed. And they didn't find no gun. That's all a bunch of rhetoric lies you want to tell this board. It's a bunch of bullshit. You're full of shit. You need to fucking resign. You're nothing but a fucking terrorist leader. You talk about terrorists. You are the fucking terrorist leader. Joe.
The Red Chip Hunt.
I'm getting a dog and pony show here. I want to talk really about statistics and what happened in this room last week when they tried to make 2 or 3 statistics. Number 1, me standing back there. Number 2, General Jeff. That's their way of not promoting this meeting in a positive manner. Every time that we look up, it's a goddamn problem. And this is why we always want to say, fuck the police. Number 1, I want to say fuck the police. I've been going through this for 10 years now, and I've been keeping people clean. And they've been arresting me 71 times for keeping people clean. On that note, I want to say fuck the police. Number 2, lady child ended up dead over at Metropolitan. It wasn't no suicide. It was at hands of another. That's another fuck the police.
Fuck them.
When you guys kill the public and You guys know that there was no mental health providers over there. You guys know that there was no doctors over there. And you guys try to make an excuse out of these are fine officers and we have fine detention officers. It takes more than a fine detention officer over there because I've been through the program. And this is why we're getting a whole bunch of resistance. Fuck the police for that little bullshit that you guys did with Wayne Spinner, arresting him for nothing. Burning up resources over nothing. And this is why I asked the internal to come in this room right here and to survey this room, because you guys do a whole bunch of stuff that's illegal because none of these motherfuckers know about the Brown Act. And that's so goddamn stupid that you guys have officers that's not trained in the Brown Act. If you ask the captain what the Brown Act is, he still wouldn't know today. And that's ignorant. That's very ignorant. This is why you guys have to arrest General Jeff. This is why you guys have to come fuck with me over here for standing up for neuropathy. Because you guys don't know about the public. And this is so fucking safe. This is why you have so many statistics.
Our next three speakers, Ted Hayes, Oscar, and Mr. Herman. Ted Hayes.
I'm very pleased the barricades have come down from the front of the administration building. That's a bunker mentality. It indicated the police were afraid of something. And actually the barricades wouldn't prevent anything. Anybody could go around them or over the barricades. They meant nothing except showing the police administrators as being afraid of something. And the bunker mentality went into that. Well, they're gone now. I don't know whether someone is going to follow the routine or whether they're actually going to be gone. So, last week was very important because you understand that from what Mr. Jenkins has pointed out, we have a right to be here. And you can't use the police as a means in which to control people in your behalf. If you don't want the people in here, you don't come in here. As Captain Truman said, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. So if you can't tolerate the presence of the public and the annoyances they provide, don't come here. You can resign. You serve at will, your will and the mayor's will. So we have to find some means of providing the self-assurance that you should have to deal with the burden of being on this commission. If you're too weak, too frail to tolerate it, leave. No one will disrespect you because this might turn out to be an arduous duty for people to sit here and say, whatever duty you feel is being upon you. But as far as violating everyone who comes in here, for the sake of shielding yourself from the very view, is not going to work because it becomes a criminal act on your part. A crime. Robbing and Brown Act, a crime.
I also wanted to bring up the case of Keith Bertie, who was killed on Friday. And I wanted to point out that a lot of the community is saying that he was not armed, that he was handcuffed when he was killed. And he also had won an appeal against the LAPD recently. So you guys should really look at that evidence and make sure it's not being tampered by these police officers. And be really careful with that, because I'm sure it would be. And I also wanted to point out that the Office of Inspector General began an in-depth review of the inmate inspection and safety checks of the Los Angeles Police Department's Metropolitan Detention Center, reviewing a total over 264 hours of jail security camera video. And they identified that out of 198 cell block checks, 163 of them, or 82.3% of the inmate inspections, were out of compliance.
Out of compliance.
82%. And I just wanted to bring that up, make sure you guys know all the statistics coming out and are doing what you can to fix those problems.
That was reported on and commented on extensively last week, but thank you for bringing it back up.
Mr. Berman?
Yeah.
No, those are correct.
Rainbow, here it comes. Batman's back, Mr. Silver. We're talking about speaking our minds, but incidentally, why isn't Batman here to talk about
perjury on the arrest of an inmate on the account of threats 422A-B-C. That was Wayne Spindler, a threat simply for putting up a card similar to this. Simply for putting up a card like this. Is this Brandenburg versus Ohio? How about Whitney versus the United States? What about Dennis versus the United States? So we can conclude that our detectives are above the law. Not only did they arrest Wayne Spindler at City Hall on the steps in violation of the Brown Act, they also served him with the subpoena. On top of that, they also showed up in court with Herman Wesson Jr., a.k.a. Herman. But Batman never says fuck Herman. Batman always knows fuck Herman anyways. So when you use intensifiers to protest against the police, it's not an issue of negligent attitude.
It's an issue of NWA. With all respects, Mr. Sibley, I wish for you to investigate the issue on Detective Nava 31586 Torres, and also of REZA Reza 34816 badge number for the false arrest of Wayne Spindler under the Brown Act and perjury of Mr. Herb Wesson lying in his testimony. Thank you.
Next, 3 speakers, Wayne Spindler, General Jeff, and Alfredo Gama.
They don't get to say what's offensive.
Well, the jackass rodeo returns. Yeah, the Brown Act. But you got the barriers down. What happened Friday? You want peace. Now we're all going to be one big happy family. That's right.
God damn.
It's only going to cost you $1.4 million. That's all I want.
So reasonable.
Just $1.4 million will do it.
What a nice guy.
We're family now. Yes, sir. You sure love me. And you just can't wait to pay. So how much? $1.4 million will do it.